2. Fight or Embrace by Shake These Beats. Black Trans Girls Journal. Hello and good morning, interweb world. So, as you probably guys if you haven't been paying attention, I have to move soon, and I might lose my disability, all within a week or two of getting the information from each other. So yeah, that's what my predicament. I checked out a place last Thursday, and it was tiny. The place we wanted wasn't accessible, so that was a no-go. Yeah, totally bummed out about that. Still searching, looking for a place, trying to balance out how I can budget for a new place. If I lose my disability, how am I going to budget for that? That's a big part. I have to pick up some extra shifts, but I'm mentally disabled, so picking up extra shifts is going to be very, 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 very difficult to maintain. Like, yes, right now I'm stable, but so I can pick up a couple shifts now, but in the long run, that's not going to be sustainable. So I really need to figure out how to make money from my music. I need to figure out how to make money from my music. I do have a Patreon, and I'm always uploading to Patreon. I have over 300 uploads, and the lowest tier starts at $5. And since I only have a few Patreons, I don't do that many other higher tier stuff, so everything is available at the $5 level. Not everything, but mostly everything is available at the $5 level. And I'm gonna start doing Twitch, and I'm gonna start posting more on social media, utilizing my time that I'm not working to work. I've been working on my website. It's almost finished. The link is in my bio. Yeah, that's what my life has been like. Just work, even when I'm not working. My day job, I work part-time right now for my day job, but I have to pick up some more hours in case I lose my disability, which is also going to give the disability people leverage to cut me off because I'm picking up shifts to anticipate losing the disability. So, yeah. There's that, because I need to move, and they don't allow me to save enough in disability for moving costs, so I have to pick up extra shifts for moving costs, which then brings me in the disability a limit of how much I can make. So that's like a pain in the butt. So I'm thinking I might as well just stay crazy and do without the disability, even though it is a big help, but it's also a hindrance. Like, I have to cut back my hours if I make any money with my music and my Patreon. I have to cut back my hours. And it's not like I can just cut back hour by hour every time I make a little more money. I have to get rid of an entire shift, which is going to cut my income in half. Or not a quarter. It's going to cut it in a quarter. So, like, it'd be cool if I can just be like, oh, I'm only working 6 hours this shift. I'm not going to work a 10-hour shift. But that's not the case. I can't do that. So when I make a little extra money with my Patreon or streaming services, I have to go over my limit. And I went over my limit too many times. So I thought that basically when you went over your limit, they would take a little bit out of your next check. But they're saying that they're not going to do that, that they're just going to kick me off which means I'm probably gonna have to pay them back. So the IRS is gonna be calling me soon if they discontinue my disability. The IRS is gonna get in touch with me and say I owe certain money because they paid me when I was making over. So they're gonna charge me the difference of how much I went over my limit versus how much each month. You know, I know they're gonna do that because I've heard stories of stuff like that. And it makes no sense how the government just messes you up. Like literally, if you're disabled, not only are you getting $600 to $1,000 a month, that's the range, that's the average. The average is about $850. Some people get lower, some people get higher, but the average is about $850 a month for disability. You're only allowed to have $2,000 in your bank account at one time. Any more than that, you're over your limit and you're going on, you're getting a write-up. You can't make over $1,000 and something dollars because that's going over the limit. So that's like, so basically at part-time, part-time where I live, I couldn't go over 19 hours. But then I just got a 50-cent raise. So my amount went over the limit. And I wasn't paying attention. I thought if you went over a little bit, I'll say this again, I thought if you went over a little bit, they just take it out of your next check. But obviously they're not doing that and they're threatening to kick me off. And it's such a pain because I need to move. Moving costs. And like literally that was my rent money. Everything else I spend was my work money. But my disability was my rent. So now I have to make the equivalent of rent of a new place, which isn't gonna be as cheap as the place I'm just renting now, which isn't cheap, but it's cheap compared to my neighborhood. It's cheap compared to the city I live in. Cheap compared to San Francisco Bay Area. You know, like it's really ridiculous how cheap. And it was literally half my income. My rent now is half my income. And they want you to make 2/3 more than your income. Or they want you to make 2/3 more than your rent. So that's ridiculous. Or they want your rent to be 1/3 of your income. That's the way to put it. They want your rent to be 1/3 of your income. So I got a good deal and it's half my income. So I have to work twice as hard with the mental illness where I might not be stable enough to actually work and I can't afford to take off days because I went over my limit $30 to $80 a few times last year and a few times the year before. So they're gonna cut me off. And instead of just raising the limit of how much we can make to coincide with the cities you live in, what's affordable, what's the standard cost of living in your area, say we're gonna pay you this much and the standard cost of living is this much, so you're allowed to make this much money because that's how much it costs to rent a 1-bedroom apartment. That's what they should base everything on. They're basing it on the lowest price for a room in the worst part of the city as the average. And that's what they compare what they pay you on. And they say everything else is extra because, you know, you're making, and it's just, so ridiculous, all the stuff we're going through. The disability community really struggles. And Omicron and COVID, it's going to increase the amount of disabled people. So they're going to have to live this struggle. The government is not prepared for this. And I'm just like, okay, I need to get this business off the ground. this music business. I need to get it off the ground. I need Patreons. Seriously, tons of original music, never released anywhere else. Most of it on my Patreon. The link is on my bio. Come on, support a queer, trans, femme person. Yeah, it's Black History Month. Support your black artists. Anyway, Shake These Beats is my my music name, my artist name, and I just released a new album today called Base of World Tree. And basically it is a rejection album, but I got a really good friend out of the rejection. So it's a hopeful album, cherishing the friendship and looking at the friendship like, hey, you know, this is an awesome friend. Let's be cool. And then the song I pitched to Spotify is actually 3 Whole Dimes. And it's like, oh, you'll probably catch me one of these times checking out that behind, but hope it's fine. Hope you don't mind. And it's totally okay to see your tender connections, because I'll be fine. Anything that makes you happy is divine. You know, and it's like so on, so on, so on. But that's the vibe of the song. It's a little playful, a little hopeful, and embracing the friendship. Because we're actually closer now than we probably would have been if we dated. So yay, friends. And I'm releasing a stream of instrumental albums after that, because, you know, I'm doing an instrumental album off of every vocal album. Every album with vocals, I'm going to do an instrumental album of that. And I just need to catch up until my catalog is all filled out with both the instrumental and the alternative with vocals. And I'm also working on a remix album. I'm calling it Remember. And it's like my favorite songs from about this certain crush that I had from like high school all the way up to 2012. And I just made a bunch of songs about this person. And I figure, you know, I want to work on practicing building songs with the vocals first. So I'm working on building a beat around the vocals that I already have the acapella for, because they're my songs. And I'm making a remix, and that's going to be coming out in the next couple months. So yeah, that's what's going on. Might lose my disability, need to move, new music coming out. And don't forget to subscribe and like this comment and like this post. Subscribe and like this post. Well, thank you for tuning in. Love, be loved. You are loved. Love is the answer. Peace.